Marvellous.
No
Well,
problem.
that's me sorted then.
That's it. Yeah, right. Audio's good. There we go. Welcome back to another episode of Rec Talk. I'm your host Nitin Sharma, and my co-host today.
Sean Kennedy.
Hey, we're recording live from RecFest. Our guest today is
Rebecca Collis.
Come on.
Hello, Rebecca Collis. I'm really, really good at this.
Yes. Yeah.
Otherwise known as Becca to most people who actually talk to me, but I call myself Rebecca officially. I think that's because my mother used to call me Rebecca. It was a thing. You have to be formal, apparently.
Parents always use your full name. Like, I've got a really long name, Sean Anthony Sam Kennedy, and I knew if I was in trouble, if all those names got mentioned, I was getting a wooden spoon.
Yeah. That's the bit where we're like, no, hide.
Yeah.
I only have 2 names, so but I gave my kids 2 each in the middle just because, you know, to make up for that, really. It's like Mr. Generation, so now you have to have 2 names
Now
in the
you've
middle.
got a ridiculous number of
Yeah,
middle names.
yeah, so good luck with filling in your passport applications, kids. Crack on.
Yeah.
Just all the fun. It's always good fun doing all that kind of stuff, though, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So, welcome to Rec Talk. This is your
Thank you.
your slot. This is your 20 minutes, half an hour. What do you want to talk about?
Well, Sean and I kind of touched on this, and it was just really, I thought it'd be quite interesting to talk about where I'm at the minute and bore everybody with that.
Oh, cool. This is a vanity
Yeah.
project. Yeah,
Just
cool.
about
nice.
me, vanity.
Yeah.
No, I think it's
Adore
actually,
Me.
it's a little bit broader than that. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that I think has brought me to where I am right now because, like a lot of people, I got made redundant last year, and then I took on a contract. That contract finished at the end of March. I've been looking at whether I do fractional, we're looking at whether I do contract, looking at whether I do perm, and genuinely applying for stuff, using my network, etc., but getting into processes and then getting stuck a lot of the time. And what I've kind of come to the conclusion in around this is that senior talent acquisition people, particularly if they've got fairly broad, deep profile, are there's not necessarily as big an appetite for us in the market to actually go and plug in and do a full-time role. There's a lot of nervousness around salaries and recruiting the right people, and with the issues that everyone's having with being able to identify from a CV that's been tweaked with AI whether or not somebody is the right person for the job. Often bringing people in for interview who show to be 95% match or 100% match, the potential is that they're actually not at all, and that you're missing the 70 to 80% match because you're focused on de-risking, and what you're actually doing is increasing your risk by that. So I also have come across a lot of companies at the minute that are at that scale-up point where they've got maybe 300 to 500 people, and they're suddenly hitting the wall whereby they're not going to be able to really get to the next step, or they feel like they're not going to be able to. Mainly they've recruited their brother, their cousin, their sister's brother, and they've got all of those people in. They don't even know if they're in the right roles within the business
They've exhausted
anyway.
that kind of initial network.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how do we actually bring some governance and some structure to what we're doing and make sure that actually we're consistent in our hiring practices? How do we increase things like diversity within our business within a way that makes sense for our business, that actually pays us for those reasons? Because the other reasons at the minute seem to have been put on the shelf, but that has a lot to answer for. But then when you blend
You have to beep that out.
that...
Just to make sure you beep that out. YouTube did not like his name being mentioned
God,
on anything.
sorry,
Yeah, I
really
get shadow banned
sorry.
all the time because of it. No, it's fine. Don't worry. We'll just go. Bloop. Yeah.
Oh, so I can swear, but I can't say that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Can't say the T
Fucking
word.
insane.
Imagine that.
The DT
Right?
word.
That's another level, really, isn't
It's
it?
madness.
That's
Politics
mental,
is not allowed to come into YouTube then,
Yeah,
right?
Land of free, unless you know what I mean. Yeah.
Unless you're
freedom of speech,
restricted.
unless you're talking about. Yeah.
Unless you land of the free, unless you mention their leader.
Who's anything but promoting free.
Yeah.
100%.
Just
But
gonna
sorry,
go with that.
I
Sorry,
interrupted you
but-
there, but yeah.
But no, it's also about the place that I've decided to focus on now is I've developed my own kind of little brand. I've got my logo and I've got my other bits, and I'm launching my own company with the idea being that fractional work specifically for 2 main groups, 2 main demographics. Scale-ups which are wanting to put in some of those processes and structure and probably need a chunk of work done, but then probably only need a fractional capability.
Yeah.
And also something else which has hit me quite hard, and it hit me when I was at in-house recruitment, was the number of companies that are tech providers or vendors that are providing, or suppliers that are providing to TA, that actually haven't asked TA what they want.
We literally were just talking about this.
Oh, really?
Like, everyone's providing a solution for a problem that doesn't
This
exist.
doesn't exist.
Yeah. And this is where I
Chasing
think...
efficiency is not productivity, right?
Yeah, exactly. And understanding, for instance,
Good at
we,
this, aren't
Yeah.
we
You've done
haven't
this
solved.
before.
It's almost like you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with a lot of them, they're getting to product development and they're only getting to use a testing point before they actually talk to us. And I think, therefore, again, there's an opportunity there to work with some of these more open-minded suppliers and actually say, well, do you want a bit of fractional advisory support? So we can tell you what we actually want and we can solution it with you, rather than you solutioning it and then telling us what you've come up with.
And then going to market and being like, our GTM isn't working.
Yeah.
Well, of course it isn't.
Yeah.
You're not solving an issue. You think it's an issue. And look, I'm all for the fact that actually within HR tech and RecTech, the barrier to entry has dropped, in that people can now join, bring solutions in from the outside world. Because actually, outside of the recruitment and talent world, things are a lot more efficient. We're very behind in how we do things.
Agreed.
So it's good that you've got people that are like, no, we can build, low cost solutions and more effective and sort of agile solutions to problems. But my God, find out what the problems are
But
first,
the people who work some people it's working well for, though, they just have a good marketing team. They've marketed the product so well to pretend that
They make you think, I didn't realise that was a problem for me.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
I didn't realise this problem doesn't exist as a problem. I better buy this thing.
That's
like,
it.
Or they're buying tech and layering it. They're not looking
Yeah.
at the tech stack. So a lot of TA teams, I'm seeing panic buy. It's almost like they've literally gone in and it's the middle of COVID and they've seen that there's very few toilet roll and they've grabbed the toilet roll, but now they've decided to grab the Brussels sprouts because generally they might disappear as well.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They can
right.
go.
And ironically, one causes the other.
yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're in the sea of, I don't know what, well, we won't say that. But the reality is a lot of this is it's slowing down and looking. We need to adapt. We need to use tech massively with the current market as it is. And we need to embrace where it actually improves the human experience. And what we're doing at the moment seems to be like we're fixing the bits which are easy to fix with tech, but actually dehumanise the process
I
massively.
think that's intentional. I genuinely do, because again, we said this on the previous episode, that it's a gold rush right now.
yeah.
And they know, they being the HR tech and the RecTech vendors, the majority of them that are in this AI space know they have a couple of years shelf life before it becomes, it's already the most depreciating asset, right?
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
And if you think about when things like GoDaddy and like buying a website originally, buying a domain was thousands.
Yeah.
And now it's a penny, 99p.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know this is where it's headed, because you've got companies like Microsoft and Google that are leaning into agentic AI for everybody.
Yes.
You should be and will be able to create mini agents to do little bits of the shit jobs that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it Windows for Dummies style easy to do.
We used to-
And they know that. And so they're thinking, panic stations, people are buying, there's a gold rush. Just don't worry about scoping out the problem. Just, we've built a solution, market that solution as something that they can't live without, and let's just fucking get our bag while we can.
We used
And
to
that
use a
sounds really
phrase
horrible.
called like making something sticky.
Yeah.
Right, and that's exactly what they're trying to do now. So they're trying to embed themselves in these organisations now, where the product is sticky. It's not. It'd be harder to remove it than it would be to.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things that they're doing now, and I do see the benefit in some of the tools. Like we were talking about admin work, right, and some of that stuff. I hate admin, like many people. Like Dom was saying earlier, like I like taking notes. Same.
But this is this is where the productivity versus sort of efficiency argument comes in. You know, what are you creating here? What are you doing? If you're trying to make a recruitment process faster or cheaper, that's not a problem. That's not what I want. That's what I need. I need productivity. I've got 200 applications and people are miserable because they're not hearing back from me. Which is in turn then impacting my employer brand, because the amount of people that I'm not speaking to are going out saying, fuck them, don't apply for them. They won't even bother responding to you. I need that problem solving. So create me a tool that's going to allow me to work through 200 applications in a more efficient manner.
Do you know what? I've talked about this just a bit because this is one of the things that I think is such an open goal at the minute.
Yeah.
Because it's been a problem for years when you are not recruiting necessarily a volume role, but you're getting a high volume of applications. At the moment, every ATS system that I've come across, you may have come across different ones, you've got to go into the rec, you've got to click on the profile, you've got to open the candidate, you've got to open the CV, you've got to check which CV it is and whether it's the current one. Whereas if you had that on a proper, imagine something more akin to Tinder, whereby you get all of your candidates come up, and they literally, you can see their CV, you can go red, green, potential, and then they go into buckets that you can then re-sift again. And that's, I'm not talking about for where you're getting 1,000 applications. Clearly it doesn't work for that. We need something wiser than that. But we're also still using CVs, which were, for God's sake, Leonardo da Vinci concepted the CV. We haven't changed it since the 1940s. It's not fucking fit for purpose anymore, especially with people using AI to create the CV that looks like the other CV, that looks like the other CV, that looks like the other CV. So how do you measure whether somebody's the person that you want now? And also the skills are changing.
Yeah.
Every year, in fact, every few months, we're going to need to be able to pivot.
And
So
many
surely
people can change their
trainability.
CVs now. If I went and got a job spec now, I got my CV, put it into ChatGPT and said, do me a favour, can you make my CV look relevant to this job spec? Cool, there's your CV.
Yep.
And really, is that a true reflection? But like, also, I think we've said this before, like, I know you feel quite strongly about this, fair play. Like, if you're going to corner the market in a certain way and do it, but we also need to be aware of that and update the actual application process, because it is massively flawed.
It's a dated process.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the thing. This is where I say we need to look as an industry outside of the recruitment and talent world and figure out what works out there. How are they narrowing down a selection criteria of what used to be this much down to relevant buckets?
Absolutely.
What's working for them? How do we change that and go, we need this in our industry in this manner, and we had this chat walking in earlier. I think the route you're going down is exactly the route that you need to be doing, because you've gone through the job hunt journey recently. You're going to get bored. You're too senior. We just want a bum on a seat to basically like deal with the volume of applications that we've got. Right? Again, they're looking for efficiencies, not productivity. Whereas we're in the decade of the entrepreneur now. We're not in the decade of the entrepreneur now. We're in the decade of the freelancer. You need 3 to 5 clients that are willing to pay you for your skill set, but don't need you full time in the office every day. They just need you available. Work on this, little sprints here and there, and then you get that thing that we all want so much, which is that work-life balance, where you're like, I'll get my fucking time back. I'm making a living, I've got a core skill set, let me use that skill set. And I think that is something that's going to be on the rise, actually, because more and more businesses obviously are looking at the pendulum swing from, we used to need people, now we want AI.
Yeah.
And we need someone to help us get to the AI.
It's the new
thing, right?
cybersecurity. You think about where cybersecurity was a few years ago. Everybody would say, I want a cybersecurity principle. And then you'd ask them, the hiring manager, what is it you actually want? How many of them could actually describe what that person was going to do?
I love this saying, and I think I said this on our first podcast with you at IHR. Everyone wants a unicorn until you give them a fully functioning horse.
Yeah.
And you,
100%.
Like, it works, it does the job. One's real, one's not.
Yeah.
So, like,
What do you want?
yeah, what do you want?
But we know that people are like, how again, outside of our world, of the four walls of recruitment and talent, we know that people operate in a very different way, in that not everybody looks for the perfect solution, right?
Yep.
Not everybody's going out buying the perfect car that ticked all the boxes, or getting into the perfect relationship that ticked all the boxes, or anything. We go for a level of, okay, this is good enough.
Yes.
And hiring managers do the same thing.
Yes.
They hire people not on a skill set and only a skill set, because otherwise you wouldn't ever need to meet them. You just go, CV says they can do it, get them start on Monday. They meet them and they'll go, do you know what? I know what you're saying, Becca, but I did like that guy, Sean.
Yeah.
There was just something about him.
No one's saying that at the moment. I'm still
No,
jealous.
right now they're not. Right?
But that is and then because we're constantly looking at how we remove bias from the selection process. But on the other hand, it is necessary to tune into what we do have in terms of understanding and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So it's also how we measure that in a reasonable way when we're able to qualify why we're
machines
doing what
can't
we're
do
doing.
that.
No, they can't.
Right?
But likewise with notes, the note takers, what I got really scared about the other day, I saw a post about it, and they were talking about a capability where it would note take for you, which I love. Transcription, bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's going to make the odd error. It's going to be a lot better than my writing, and I'll be able to read it.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's also going to then produce a summary. And what a recruiter put was, brilliant. Current interview process takes me an hour. With the note-taking capability, with me having to take notes, that's half an hour. For me to write the summary to the hiring manager to sell the candidate is 15 minutes, right? They then said, but with new product, get rid of everything but the interview. I'm like, are you shitting me? So you're going to let Your little note taker who's a trainee, who is
Control the
basic.
process.
Exactly. They're going to just write the summaries for you, and they're going to guess which are the most important parts to you. And they're not. You're handing that over to an
we're
EA
back to that
basically.
argument again.
Yeah.
Efficiency is not productivity.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The efficiencies I'm saving you is the time.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm already investing that time.
Yeah.
Right? What I'd like to do is invest that time in a more productive manner. Not remove that time and make it. I don't need. All I need to do is the easy bit.
Yeah.
Because guess what? In 2 years' time, even the easy bit will be done by a machine.
Helen,
Yeah, of course it
again,
will.
what products can you take away? Because how much is your time worth? I think a study was done by Google in terms of like they charged per meeting like a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And at the end of the month, they saw who had accumulated the most like money for booking meetings. Right?
Yeah.
And whoever had the most, there was like a punishment or something. I don't know what the punishment was. Like, I don't think it was anything severe. Yeah. But
You
like,
can't go down the helter skelter today.
yeah. But then they made they made a very good point that how much is your time worth? And how that came across. They ended up reducing the time it took to have meetings, implemented new tools to be able to. I think it was Google actually. And
It makes sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing. These tools help you reduce time to make time for other things, the more important things. Me personally, love employer branding. Can I be doing an employee advocacy thing rather than writing notes? Yes, absolutely.
And I think it is that prioritization. But when you're looking, I mean, for me, being able to summarize and provide the so what to a hiring manager is fundamentally vital, because that's how you're going to pitch to them. Would you give a pitch to a machine that is a trainee? I mean, that's what we're doing. But I also think when you blend with that, the fact that you're looking at where you can bring efficiencies to increase productivity, because as you say, that it's not the same thing and they're being used in the same sentence all the time.
All the time.
Whereas when you understand, actually, well, it took my notes, so therefore I could review them, which isn't saving me any time because I've still got to read them.
Yeah.
And then I've got to
And I should
extract
still
from them.
want to.
Yes. Yes.
That's the point,
Yes.
all right? For me to effectively do my job, I should want to read these notes and then go, okay, I'm going to use AI to summarize my pitch or my blurb to the client. And then I'm going to go, hang on, now I'm going to change that bit.
It missed this bit. Yeah.
So bear this in mind.
Yeah.
This is something really key.
Yeah.
That's the bit that gets missed out. Oh yeah, but you could do this quicker. Yeah, it's fucking brilliant.
This
So we
is
can
it.
do this quicker, so what? Right?
It's picking that. I mean, it's even getting down to the fundamentals in recruitment, because when working in RPO, I spent so many days on hour-long meetings with you'd end up with 20 people in the bloody meeting, and they would be maybe 5 at head of level, you'd have director level, you'd have my level at senior, and you'd be sat there with, why do we need all of these people in a meeting? And then you'd be seeing them in a few hours later because you'd be another meeting with them to talk.
The fuck are we doing?
There would be no crystallised agenda. It would always rattle on for ages on stuff that was really not necessary. You'd generally run over. People were just getting no effect. That is a process that needs to be made more productive, because it is one of those things that most businesses sink so much time with senior personnel in that doesn't actually deliver anything because you haven't gone in with objectives.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. I'll use the analogy of, like, do you know what's really efficient? If you live on your own in a one-bedroom flat and it's just you, what's really efficient is having 2 dishwashers. One for your dirty dishes and one for your clean ones, right?
Yep, I can see
And I put
that.
all my dirty ones in and I turn it on, and guess what? They're all my clean ones now. And then when I've used them, I put them in the dirty dishwasher, and then I'll just switch.
I love this. I want this house.
Is that productive?
Yeah, exactly. Well, also,
It's efficient, but is that really the right thing to do? No.
but also, do you want to live like that? Do you want to be able to have them actually in your cupboard and feel like actually that's where
I'd
we
still be
want to
putting
be?
stuff in the sink. It's a realistic thing. Like, it sounds great, but then there's all this stuff that comes with it in the background. Like, would I still put stuff in the sink?
Yeah.
Would I still do all these other things?
Yeah.
How's this stuff gone off on a
Am I going to
tangent, by the
read
way?
these? No, but am I going to read these notes?
Yeah. Am I
Right?
going to do it?
Am I even if the note taker's done all the note taking for me and done the summary documents for me and
I'd of course want to.
am I even going to
because
bother with this? No, of
if
course I'm not.
if my hiring manager turns around to me and goes, Sean, what's the difference between Bob and Emma? I go, well, look at the notes.
I don't know. Let me ask GPT, right?
Yeah. I want to be able to go, okay, I remember this part of the conversation, that holds to be true. Okay, cool. Now I know I've got a good understanding, short form notes.
Yeah.
Cool. I can come across more credible. I can come across as like a professional. said earlier,
Like a professional.
like a professional. Sometimes.
It's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it, darling? Standard. But no, I totally agree. I think that we're looking for efficiencies in the wrong place because we're focused on efficiencies, as you say, and not productivity. We're not looking at value. And
No,
the
but
value
we're
in
not
it.
focused on that. That's what we're being sold.
Agreed.
I think a lot of this is down to the fact that you can only buy what's available, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, people like me who are not petrol heads, but like I like my cars. I don't like a electric car because I'm like, well, this is
No.
it's not
There's
for
no
me,
fun in
right?
that.
Good, I was about to walk
But
off.
if somebody like created an electric cars don't need to look like a normal car, like a traditional petrol car, right?
No,
they don't
of course
need
not.
to. So if somebody went, no, we don't need a trunk and we don't need a boot because actually it's all underneath. Let's make a really funny shaped or a different shaped vehicle.
Let's make a go-kart.
I'd be like
Like a fast
that's
one.
fucking weird looking. I want that.
Would you go for that? Would you?
Of course I would.
Oh, nice.
Mate, if I was driving around in a box.
Or like a cyber, what they call the cyber trucks?
No, but you're still thinking like a traditional. I'm
Yeah.
talking. Imagine driving around. This tent was a vehicle.
Take it.
Get a child.
you'd be
Get a
like,
child to design it because they would design the most phenomenal things.
Right. But that's the point, is that we can only buy what was available.
Yes.
And if what is available is efficiencies, and we're being told that we need efficiencies, not productivity.
Yeah.
And we're being told that this is a solution to a problem that really we don't realise that we had. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to be fucking stupid and go magpie it and go and get everything,
And,
right?
and the damage to it as well is if you look at tools that we don't need. So, for instance, or the tool that we do need, but we're framing it in the wrong way. For instance, with that note-taking one. If we're saying that that's going to drive efficiency by saving us 45 minutes, for instance, what we're actually doing is we're now modelling our team on the wrong size.
Yeah.
On the wrong, we're literally creating this idea that it's going to take us X amount of hours in time and motion study to recruit a person. Therefore, your team needs to shrink by X amount.
Yeah.
And it's like you are now setting yourself up to fail because now you're going to cut other corners because you're in the position where you're not doing the thing that needs to be done. You're now going to have to find other ways of making yourself more efficient because that's what the pressure's going to be. When you did
set the
this,
precedent.
yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it's like working in agency years ago. I remember I'd get to a point where I was performing really freaking well. You're smashing all your targets. Guess what happens then?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just going to raise those.
Yeah.
What? What? I did what you said you wanted me to do, and I beat it. And now you just keep moving the freaking target. When does it stop moving up?
You're good. You could be better.
Yeah,
Of course it is, yeah.
you're just not quite at the top of where you can be. So therefore, we're not going to pay you as much. I'm sorry.
And then look, the fallout of buying the wrong tech again and again and repeatedly then becomes, well, when you finally see something that you're like, oh, this is great, we need
You can't
this.
buy it.
The FD's going, shut up. Yeah, we're paying thousands a month for subscriptions that you guys aren't even using, and now you want us to pay more? No, thank you.
And even worse, you also have technology that very often is going to be standalone, bolt on.
Doesn't talk to, doesn't integrate with.
Yeah.
But you've also gotten so wedded to it because you know how to use it now. Yes, it's become sticky. Even though, I mean, dog shit becomes sticky, right?
Yeah.
So you just don't have the ability now to bring in the product you actually want, not just because of the FD, but also because there is an atrophy within the team, and there's also fatigue from taking on new products, having to learn them, having to pick up what that does and how it works.
But I think those who are in the AI world will tell you now that, again, we're maybe 2 years away from APIs, integrations, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They're a thing in the past. You know, with things like MCP protocols and other stuff that's happening, systems will be able to talk to each other with ease.
And I think people need AI literacy in terms of like the way we move forward as well.
But this is what
Of course we will. Yeah.
Microsoft and Google's primary focus is exactly that.
Like if I ask someone
we
now
need to make it for
past
dummies.
what the difference between AI and generative AI is, most people wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Of course I would.
Agreed. But also people are using machine learning and AI interchangeably.
Yeah.
And they're also just going, okay, well, AI can fix everything, but they're not. I don't know if you've seen this, which scared the shit out of me the other week. Bring your own device policy for AI, for recruiters. Yeah, honestly, legit.
Okay.
I'm sat there going, right, okay, so you're going to tell them to bring like their own mobile phone, but you're going to get them to bring their own AI, which means it's not going to be ring fenced. Your information, whatever you put into there, is going to be openly available. Also, the other thing that gets me is 80% of data is unstructured, regardless whether it's inside your organisation or outside. So how are we trusting that the data that's returned when we don't check the source of it is actually genuine data and isn't just gobbledygook? And that to me is one of the bigger problems at the moment, is we're not getting the elephant out in the room and going, well, how reliable is that data? Are we measuring it against data that we have that is structured, and are we checking its homework? Because we need to, otherwise we'll get so far ahead, as you were saying, and then we'll be like, oh shit, we need humans to unpick this, but they don't know how to do it anymore.
That's it. That's when the pendulum will swing back.
Yeah.
And then you guys will be in high demand again.
Well, that's hope so.
This is what happens. But this is what keeps happening though, right?
Yeah.
I realised last year, because last year was the first time I was at RecFest, and the number of green lanyards, and I thought, this is a real sad state of affairs.
Is it St. Paddy's Day?
No, yeah. No, it's like, this is sad state of affairs, because these guys are considered the most important part of a business until they're not.
Yeah.
100%.
And then they're cast aside as though
You're
like
the
a pain
spearhead.
man.
You're the one growing the organisation, but when we've not got any money, you're first to go.
I'm gonna rely on you to grow my people and to grow my business and build profitability and my revenue and my go-to-market strategies and my product. You're in control of that until I don't need you anymore, and then it's off you go, pal. Like we don't need people, so we don't need you. And that's just it's. The pendulum will always swing that way.
Yeah.
And it is only a matter of time before, because right now, look, a lot of businesses are looking at efficiencies, productivity, AI, what can we get rid of?
Yeah.
Once they realise, or once they have started to go too far with it, they'll backtrack and go, hang on a minute, we need people back. And then, as I said, you guys will be high demand again. But by that point, you'll have your fractional work ready and set up, and you'll go, I don't want it. I'm not coming back. I'm not going back into
Well,
this.
this is what happened. If we go back, God, I don't want to go back, but we will go back. If we go back to 2008 and we start looking at when the Northern Rock crash hit and all of it, everybody's mortgage got rescinded. At that stage, we saw a massive swing from perm employment and temporary people to contractors and consultants. And it was more contractors back then. I mean, the IR35 wasn't stupid back then. Don't even get there. It didn't target the little business. It targeted bigger business. But then when that came in and you suddenly started seeing consultants go out there, a prime example, it was Babcock. Babcock at one point was recruiting out of the RAF. I know this because I was working with the forces at the time.
The head of TA just walked past earlier.
Bye. But
Danny's a great lad.
just hide. But they were recruiting for air techs, and they were recruiting for them in Wales on whatever the island is out there where they do the testing for the fast jets. And they'd been doing it for years and years and years for 20 odd grand, because when they left the RAF, the pensions were really good. They just wanted a hobby. They weren't looking for a second career, because you didn't do that at 40 at that point. But what they hadn't done was seen the thing that had snuck up on them that came to punch them in the face, which was a lot of those guys and girls, the pensions got eroded. And then also the time that we want to retire got later. And we want a genuine second career. People who were coming out the forces at 40 wanted a genuine second career. And I was meeting so many of these people going, oh, sod that. I need to go and pay my second mortgage. I've got 3 ex-wives. And the reality was they wanted a whole other life beyond this. And so they couldn't just go for 20 grand and go, well, that'll top up my pension. They were going, no, I want a proper job. And so they went contracting. And so what you then found was if you wanted an air tech, you couldn't get them on a perm contract. Even when they raised the salary by 10 grand, they couldn't capture them because they'd already gone, fuck you, I know how to earn 3 times salary, thanks, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
That's him there. That's the head of TA for Babcock. We were just talking about you.
Don't tell him.
We were just talking about Babcock, and I was like, you just walked past the head of TA. Babcock. No, you're not Babcock, are you? You are, yeah. We're just talking about Babcock.
Come sit down.
Like a historical thing. Good to see you, bro. How are you?
Oops, steady.
You're out of shot, so you can say what you want and pretend to be whoever you want.
Exactly, with nobody
do on a
here.
day-to-day basis. Make it up and look good doing it.
Right. So no, but you're absolutely right. And when that power pendulum swings, that's when you go, okay, right. You're now going to be in a position where you're like, you need people like me, but I ain't coming to work for you full time.
Well, exactly.
I'll do it on my terms.
Yeah,
right? So,
exactly. Or I want a salary that's literally going to be twice the salary you're offering, because I would have taken that 5-10 years ago because my pension wasn't eroded. But now I'm going, nah, you know what? Nah, mate. Yeah. I know I can get work. You always want air techs.
Yes.
And I've been coming and doing this. They've got the same problem with automation and software engineering within the industrial automation. Same thing.
Yeah.
They want them, they offer them a salary of 40 to 60 grand, and they go, what?
Yeah.
What? You want me to go and program machines for 40 to 60 grand? No.
No, I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah.
They
That's it.
honestly, they're trying to go to market with salaries that are just unbelievably low. But heads of TA at the minute, how many times have you seen roles come out at 40, 50k? And you're going, that's not a head of TA.
It's probably one of the most insulting things as someone who's like worked in TA for so many years.
Yeah.
To get that, and that's not like, you look at London now, the average salary in London is 42k.
No.
So then a head of role now is going to be 50k for a head of talent. Bearing in mind that structure, that everything that's going to go into it is at that price. And it's absolutely travesty, because what's going to happen is, yeah, cool, like in this market now, some people are going to take those roles.
Yep.
And they're going to go, cool.
Because they have to.
And then
Until
when
they're ready
we talk
to
about
leave.
that pendulum swinging, when it goes back to a normal market, and then there's see you later, and there's no loyalty to it, but because you haven't been loyal to them by offering what they're actually worth.
Yeah.
No.
But if
And
someone does, they'll kiss goodbye.
This is what I've always said, is you have to, I mean, when I was working at AMS, one of the things that I worked hard on with my team when I was recruiting for my internal team was you get people. There was one girl, I still remember now, it broke my heart. She was CIPD level 5. She'd been running the recruitment function and did some of the HR function in this company. She was being paid 17 grand. And I was like, and she was like, well, I'd like a little bit more than I'm on now. So if I could get 19, that'd be perfect. I'm like, I'm not paying you 19 grand. That's ridiculous. And so gave her a decent chunk uplift, because I was like, this is ridiculous. We are underpaying, because what you pay is for someone to stay, not for them to come. Because if you want them to stay, you need to pay them more than the market rate, because they're not going to stay.
No.
Not long term.
It's a
if you want
mentality
people.
shift, though, isn't it? Because you've got to. I think as a employee, your mindset has to be no. You are not buying my time. You're buying my skill set.
Yes.
And when you start approaching, I think when you start approaching your career like that, you see an uplift. Because, yeah, you're not buying my time. You're not, you have no right to ask me what I've been doing for 40 hours this week. You're buying the outcomes that I'm going to deliver.
I'm the product.
That's what, exactly. Yeah. My skill set, that's what you're buying.
Yeah.
The outcomes that I'm going to deliver. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing for 40 hours a week. I'm not going to check in on you and this and now. And those sorts of management structures are the ones that are struggling right now. And they're the ones that are underpaying. They're the ones that you're coming across that are just taking the absolute piss, because they don't know any other way.
But this is also because, again, we only performance manage when somebody's performance has dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were actually supporting people and growing them all the time and
Managing
aware,
performance consistently.
yeah, and not doing this, I still think doing annual reviews are so terrifying for most people, even the mid-year. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, all of that, if we were actually looking after our people and actually leading them through the process, checking in with them regularly but not micromanaging, getting them to contact us when they need support, helping empower them to become subject matter experts in their own specific areas of interest, what you end up with is a workforce that does the work for you, that loves doing it, that comes in and loves what they do. And this was, when I was at AMS, this is one of the things that frustrated me, was people started talking about return to office and hybrid, and I was like, my entire team's remote. And they are high performing, they're collaborative, they are connected, they are pushing it out content on LinkedIn that's dragging people directly to me, to the place where historically recruiters went to die, internal recruitment within an RPO. And yet you're saying that we need to get people back in office to go and sit in an office on a day that there's no one else there. Just to sit at a desk and do what exactly? They have to pay for parking, they've got to pay to get in there, and they're not gaining anything from it, and you aren't as a business. But I find it really surprising how many businesses are just jumping on bandwagons at the minute. Again,
They don't know. The thing is, right, there is no playbook.
True.
Historically, there was always this has sort of happened before. The financial crash. This has sort of happened before. How do we deal with it? What's the run? What's the play run here? What do we do?
Yeah.
There isn't a playbook for the world we're in right now. And
No.
so these guys haven't
volatile,
got the answers.
Yeah.
They haven't got the answers. So they're going back to the basics, or they're reverting back to what they think is the right answer. Headline speaker for RecFest, Rory Sutherland, said on a clip once about the whole return to work thing, it's like, isn't it ironic that when we implement things into the workplace that annoy our staff, we immediately think that they're good? Oh, people don't like this change, so it must be good. But the minute we go, okay, we all need to go and work from home and remote working and so on, and people are like, oh, I can't like this.
Yeah.
We don't think, is this
Bring 'em back.
productive or not? We go, hang on, they're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
That's not on.
Why are they enjoying themselves?
Yeah.
They shouldn't be
Well, they've
enjoying
got a better
themselves.
standard of life now.
They're employees. They're supposed to hate their jobs. Get them back in the fucking office. You know?
Isn't that mental though? We spend something like 75% of our lives at work,
Yeah.
but then we're supposed to just absolutely be miserable.
It's ironic, really, isn't it? As you say, I think that's a really good point
It's a
because
fallacy. It's just a fallacy. The reality is that, yeah, you're right. We spend most of our time at work, right? And you spend most of your energy whilst you're young and fit and able to make somebody else money,
yes,
to make a bunch of other people rich
Yes.
and wealthy, right? And isn't it sad that we're willing to forego our own ambition, our own wants, desires, and needs for a base salary of 35 grand a year?
it's freaking insane.
Isn't that really depressing when you look at it that way?
Oh god, yeah.
Because what you're saying is like, yeah, that's great. You wanted to do this in your life, but you've put a price on it. You've said 60 grand, and I'll forget about my dreams, hopes, and ambitions.
This is what you value me at.
Yeah. I'll make you money for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think the shit part of it all is. But
Yes.
I do think it's really interesting though, because it's a case of when, as you were saying before, when people started posting about, oh, this is great, I'm able to do this, and I'm working from the garden today. You saw a number of managers start to prickle and go. And then I remember speaking to someone on a plane a few years ago, and she was working in a law firm, and they'd had a mandate where everyone came back to work. And I said, well, why was that the case?
Yeah.
And she was like, well, because the office workers, the receptionist and some of the other people they had to be there. And I said, okay.
Again, why?
And so, but at that point, I was digging into the basics of it, so I didn't go into that. But I said, okay, so if they need to be there to greet your customers, and there needs to be a presence, why not have people in when they need to be in? And I said, what do you feel that they would object to? Well, because they can't be in if the washing machine needs fixed. Okay, so you make it really super clear that if they have a day when they need to get something done, those who have to be in the office, you say, right, okay, you don't have to make that time up. You just stay home.
Yeah.
What about that? And she was like, oh, that's really interesting as a concept. We hadn't really thought of that, but that's treating people differently. And I said, yes, but they're doing different jobs.
That's right. Yeah.
You've got knowledge-based workers and you've got production staff. Clearly, your production staff have to be on the production line because we don't have the machinery to make it happen on its own yet. But equally, if you've got knowledge-based workers within the same business, why shouldn't they be working from home away from the machines? Where's the logic?
It's no, you're
We
right.
fail people, and we don't think about them and the way that their lives are constructed around their work. And that's one of the biggest things, like hurtful things you can do is, here you go, I'm going to get you used to a certain way of living. I'm going to allow you to see your kids more. I'm going to allow you to see your partner more. I'm going to allow you to do all these wonderful things by working from home. Take it back immediately. Oh my God, how much of a disheveling...
But it's the rationale though. You're implying that they did those things for those outcomes. They didn't.
No.
They did those things because they had to.
Yeah, otherwise they couldn't
Because
have a
to
workforce.
keep the business running,
Yeah.
I need to send them home to work from home because they're not allowed to be in local vicinity with each other, right? So all the outcomes you described there were the positive fallout of the decision that was made. And that's the bit I think that a lot of sort of shareholder senior leaderships are struggling with.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, how dare you be happy? You're not supposed to be happy.
It's also the trust piece. Because the reality was, when they had to trust them, they did.
Yeah.
And they produced really good effects. And I think one of the other things that didn't happen at that time was they didn't record the data of the productivity of their teams and function. Because if they'd have done that at the time, they would then be able to qualify why they needed them back in office. And if they were able to produce that data, I think there would be less pushback from people.
But like, I hear the argument all the time, well, you can't build a culture remotely. I'm like, well,
Really?
you can.
Yeah.
You can.
100%.
Culture, by the way...
Poor leaders can't.
Yeah, poor leaders
Yes.
can't. Culture is something that is, like people's thoughts, ideas, backgrounds. That's not built of putting bums on seats in office.
Yeah.
But this is one thing, and this is, I'll go off on a tangent a little bit.
Go.
When I speak to people and they're like, oh, what's your culture, your organisation? They go, our culture is, we are fast-paced. And that's not a culture. You're describing your product and the way in which you work. There are so many, there should be, if you've got a diverse enough workforce, there should be hundreds of different cultures within your organisation,
Yes.
and you shouldn't be able to put a mark on it.
No.
When people ask me in interviews about like wherever I've worked, I said I'm going to give a bit of a different answer. I can't actually give you a direct answer, but because there are so many, but they're all wrapped up into this lovely ball that we call work. And that's
But that's the reality, because it's also, if you, I'm a great believer in creating an environment where people come to work to do the best work, the way that they work best.
Yeah.
So if that means, and it's also the dress for your day policy, I think is a great one, where you go, right, okay, so you know how to dress when you're working from home. If you're going to be going into a meeting with a
pajamas at the
client,
bottom, shirt on top.
exactly,
Yeah.
don't stand up.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you know what you need to do.
Yeah,
And
somebody
if
got like lost at tribunal for that recently. Did you see that?
yes, I saw
That
that.
was hilarious.
Bloody
This
insane.
guy got sacked. It took him to tribunal for unfair dismissal because he was on a Teams call with just a T-shirt on, and not realising that the call hadn't ended, right, with everyone. Got off like dick and balls out and walked off screen. And he got sacked for it, and he went to tribunal because that's unfair
win?
dismissal. No, he lost.
Oh, fuck.
Of course he lost.
I mean, yeah, that is a monumental fuck up. It's like, darling, I mean, first of all, you're sweating all over the chair.
Yeah.
Please just put some fucking
Yeah,
cover down.
yeah. Well, guess who's not coming to your house?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like-
I don't want to sit on your dining chair. I don't know what you've been doing
That's
there.
a weird flex that you wanted to do, but yeah.
We
No,
have.
we have. Yeah. We got to wrap this up. Closing
sorry.
thoughts. Closing
Yes.
thoughts.
About your business, about the new adventure.
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
exciting.
It's
So
called that shit.
I'm going
You got
to.
a name now, he said.
Yeah, I've got a name. It's called GearUp Talent.
Gear
Nice.
up talent.
So the idea being that people want to gear up talent. So it's my excitement. But yeah, so product, well, it's there, it's live. I'm going to post out about it probably tomorrow. I'm going to probably grab some pictures to put up there and just start actually talking about that brand now and pushing that model, because I think that's the space I need to step into. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. I don't know 100% whether it's going to be successful, but I know I'm good at what I do. And I know that there's a lot of businesses out there that I can support if they need a fractional senior talent person that really understands RPO, agency, internal, the lot. Oh, and leadership, because I love that.
Love
Yeah.
that.
There we
Love
go.
that.
I reckon
thank
you'll
you.
smash it, mate.
No, thank you very much. Best of
Thanks
luck
a lot.
with
Thank
it.
you.
Not that you need it. And yeah, if there's anything we can do to support, let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all from us, guys. Thank you. See you again on the next
Thanks,
episode.